Okay, good afternoon. This is Sarah Shannon, owner of Shannon Educational Consulting, Curriculum and Tutoring, as well as a teacher. And I'm going to make this video today. It's going to be a really short mini lesson on main idea or central idea. Before we begin, I'm going to have to maneuver the camera around. So before we begin, I want to go over our learning goal, which is right here. I had to write it out. By the end of this lesson, I will be able to identify the central main idea and will be able to carefully pick this out in text, sum that up, okay? So by the end of this lesson, the objective of this lesson is by the end of this lesson, students will be able to not only identify the definition of main idea, central idea, subtopics and supporting details, but it also will be able to read a text, receive questions, ask them about those three definitions, and then be able to answer those questions in this mini lesson, okay? So as we're reading this, as we're going over this lesson today, I want to start off with an interesting introduction. So I'm going to sing my rap called the Main Idea Rap. We're looking for the main idea. It is something that we need right here. We will show you just how it is found. All you have to do is look around, look around, look around. Whenever you're looking at a book, always give the title a second look. The title will help you to figure out just what the book is all about. So if the title says facts about bats, books about bats is as simple as that. Let me tell you about the paragraphs. If you get this now, they will make you laugh. Do you know they support the main idea? They teach you more about the focus here. So if the title is all about trees, the paragraphs will tell you more about trees, like where they go and what they need and when they use all of their lead subtopics. The subtopics are just what these are. If you know these, you'll grow real far. Each subtopic has something new. The sentences support the subtopics too. Do you know what these are called? Supporting details. It's not that hard. If paragraph 1 says, what do they eat? The sentences will say insects or meats. So just remember the entire list. Then you'll get an A and have your wish. Now let's review all of our terms. Main idea and title, that's what we've learned. And don't forget about the subtopics too. They support the main idea. I thought you knew. The subtopics are all broken down. Supporting details are all around to help them out, to give them clues. And now you know the main idea rules. So when I talk about the main idea, central idea, if you see here, this is HMH Science textbook. I love HMH, they're wonderful. And so authors don't just sit down and write their text any kind of way. They organize it in a certain manner. So this is important for you to know so that when you're reading text and you're answering questions, if you understand how the text is organized, it's going to help you to answer questions in response to text, as well as when you're beginning to write your own research reports and when you're doing your own writing, because it helps you to get an idea of how to organize your writing, okay? So, I'm looking at this information up here. So, nonfiction texts, many of them, like let's say if you're writing a text or reading a text, for example, you either were writing a research report, you're reading one about frogs. So if I don't know if you can see that on frogs, or if you're doing it on plants, or if you're doing it on kangaroos, if you're doing it on elephants, or bald eagles, or butterflies, okay? Any of those topics, let's say you're reading a text about any of those topics, those are nonfiction or true texts or true books. Or let's say you're writing a research report. The teacher says, I want you to do a research report on bald eagles, for example, or I want you to do a research report on butterflies or frogs or on elephants or something like that. Your teacher tells you want to do the research report, you're going to need to know how you will organize your writing in order to do that, okay? So if you look at this graphic organizer right here, let me see if you can see it right here. This one right here I'm pointing to. If you look at this one right here, this is a graphic organizer that shows you how many non-text fiction texts are organized, right? So they'll start off with, like I said, a main idea or central idea, which is the whole text will be about spiders. For example, you're reading text about spiders. So the entire text, the whole entire text is all about spiders. That's the main idea. But then the text will oftentimes, not all the time, sometimes it switches it up, but oftentimes the author will take the main idea or the central idea and then break it down into different subtopics that's a little bit more about spiders. So this one, you see this graphic, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this entire section over here, this subtopic over here, let's say if you're reading it, just picture it, will only be about what does a spider look like. And everything in this section will be only about what the spider looks like. Then if you go over here, everything in this section will be only about what the spider eats and everything in this section. And then if you go over here, everything in this section may be only about where the spider lives. And everything in this section will be there. And then this section may say everything about what interesting facts about the spider, like how does the spider web or something like that. And then it'll close it. So if you understand that that's how many nonfiction texts are organized, then again, that will help you when you're answering questions in response to text, or when you're getting ready to write your research report, because you can organize your writing, or you can answer questions with that thought in mind. So if you get a question asking about what does a spider live or something like that, you wouldn't go to the section that talks only about what does it eat, or you wouldn't go to the section that talks about its webbing or what does it look like. You understand that authors organize text in a certain manner. They don't just store it in kind of a way. So you only go to the section that you remember reading that talked about what does the spider live, for example, and that's how you will find your answer. So see, when you understand how texts are organized, many texts, that helps you in things like that, okay? Same thing with this one. This is another way of organizing it. This is on whales right here, okay? So again, the entire text will be only on whales, okay? And then I'm going to break it down to, this one is talking about 4 different types of whales, okay? So this text right here, everything in this section of this text will only talk about the baleen whale, okay? And so everything in this entire section will only talk about the baleen whale. This section over here, however, go to paragraph number 2, 3, or 4, this entire section will talk about dolphins, and everything in this paragraph will talk about dolphins. And then everything, or this section of the text. And then everything in this section will talk about the toothed whale. And then everything in this section will talk about blue whales. Again, the central idea, the main idea is all about whales. That's what the entire text is about. But then it breaks it down into different subtopics about. So this one is talking about different types of whales. Blue whales, toothed whales, baleen whales, and so on and so forth. So that will help you. We'll give you one more example, and then we'll move on, and we'll almost be finished here. So look here. This is another graphic organizer that helps you organize the information in the same way. And I'm going to take it down so you can see it a little bit closer. So again, subtopic, interest introduction, and then subtopic number 1. Everything underneath this are the supporting details about that particular subtopic. So if it's about the elephant, for example, it'll introduce it. It'll say something like, you know, elephants are the most amazing animals. This text is going to talk to you a little bit about elephants and open up with some type of interest introduction to catch your attention, which is what you should do when you begin writing your research report. And then the next section may talk about what elephants look like. And, you know, they have strong, long tusks, and they weigh a certain amount, or whatever it's going to say. That's subtopic number 1. What does it look like? And everything underneath this section will only be the supporting details to tell only what it looks like. This section over here, it talks about what does it eat. And everything in this section will talk about what does it eat. And then over here, everything in this section will talk about, everything over here will talk about where does it live. So a lot of authors, sometimes they do it that way. They mix it up. But often the good authors know that if you organize it that way, then people are going to understand your text a little bit better. So if you mix up like all of the things together, and sometimes if you don't have enough time, you can do it that way. Or if you're doing a different type of writing, you can do it that way. Like if you're writing just a short constructed response or a paragraph, then you might want to mix up a little bit with a little bit of stuffing between each section. But this is just a really good way to organize your writing. So when you get to writing your research report, I'm going to turn the camera over here if you can see this. Right here, when you get to writing research report, then, let me see if I can put it up here. You will see, okay, swing it around. You can see, you know, first of all, you have to remember the 5 steps to the writing process, which is the, you know, first step is brainstorming, then a rough draft, then you're revising, then you edit, then you're publishing. If you know the 5 steps to the writing process, and if you don't know that, you need to review that, watch a video on YouTube or something like that. But the first step is the brainstorming part, is when you begin to think about, let's say your teacher said to you, write a research report on an animal that you choose, which is what I'm going to be doing with my students in a moment, okay? So if your teacher says to you, write a research report on a certain animal. Oh, okay, sorry. Thought I stopped there. Okay, sorry, forgive me. So if the teacher said to you, they're going to want you to write a research report on a certain animal, the first step of the writing process is you have to brainstorm. How am I going to organize my writing? What am I going to do? Is this a short constructed response? Would I organize my writing like a short constructed response? Would I organize my writing with the race strategy if I learned that from my teacher? Is this an opinion writing piece I'm writing? Is this a letter? So I had to think about, how am I going to respond to what my teacher just asked me to do? And if you have a good teacher, they'll give you steps to help you to do that and help you to walk you through the process. But if you remember this lesson, if you remember how nonfiction texts are organized and how many texts are organized similar to this, and this is what your product will look like. You can see that right there. This is all about whales. Then you will open up, and I don't know if you can see it, but you will open up with, once you would think to yourself during the brainstorming process, what's my interest introduction going to be? And then you sit down and you'd write something similar to this, or something similar to, you can see it up close right here if you see it on here, something similar to this. You see, this is from my book that Shannon wrote. Right here. So you see this? It's similar to that up there. You can see it up close right here. So you would organize it something similar to this. This is how you would do your brainstorming stuff. You would start thinking to yourself in the first step of the writing process, the brainstorming part. You think to yourself, if it's on the blue whale, what am I going to write about the blue whale? How am I going to organize the writing? What am I going to put over here? We're going to talk about what does it look like, where does it live, so on and so forth. What am I going to say about the toothed whale? What am I going to say about the dolphins and so on and so forth, the baleen whale or whatever one it is. So, and I can do a lesson to you, talking to you about, so for example, this one's a better example. So let's say if you were talking about the elephant, for example, and your whole text is going to be about elephant, and you're getting ready to write your research report, and you say, okay, I'm going to put right here in the middle of my brainstorming page, I'm going to write a brainstorming page just like this. I'm going to say, I'm going to write about the elephant, right? So I'm going to start organizing my brainstorming with these thoughts in mind, these 4 sections similar to what you just learned. And then when you do your research, you start researching, what does the elephant look like? And then put everything in this section. I actually have my students take a folder, and they put one page, everything on that one page, all the research they did about what the animal looks like. And then on the next page, everything about what the animal eats. And on the next page, everything about what the animal lives, and so on and so forth, interesting facts. And then they pull all together when they write their rough draft. But this is a quick way to do it if you're just jotting down some ideas and you start brainstorming, you look at your background knowledge to help you think about what you already know if that's something you're interested in. So this is to get you started, and then you can do what I just said if you want to do so. So I don't want to waste your time, but hopefully that will help you figure out what the central idea, main idea is. So I just want to review the song, parts of the song really quickly, and then we'll be done, just to give you like a wrap-up summary of this. And so I'm going to just do it real quick. We're looking for the main idea. It is something that we need right here. We will show you just how it is found. All you have to do is look around, look around, look around. Whenever you are looking at a book, always give the title a second look. The title will help you to figure out just what the book is all about. So if the title says facts about bats, the book's about bats is as simple as that. Let me tell you about the paragraphs. If you get this now, they will make you laugh. Do you know they support the main idea? They teach you more about the focus here.